Hello, today we're gonna do a lab about firewall evasion and try to do many kind of tunnels to bypass firewall rules. Some of the tunnels are VPN, port forwarding, which uses SSH tunneling, and then port forwarding has static port forwarding and dynamic port forwarding. I'm also gonna try to use the SAX program. SAX client program and try to bypass the firewall. Okay. So the two networks that we have, that's our first network. It's the external network. And we have an internal network. And between the two networks, we have this router that is acting also as a firewall to prevent both networks to connect to each other. So we're gonna try to use these different tunnels to try to bypass these rules. Okay, just gonna start by cutting all the containers. Okay, so the containers are up. I'm just gonna use another terminal. Here we go. So that's the true terminal. Just gonna first create the static port forwarding. I will connect to host A, which is 4FD. And then I'm gonna conduct the SSH static port forwarding. It's SSH 4NT local. The same host machine, which is host A, 10.8.0.99. And it's gonna listen on port, let's say 7000. And then we're gonna connect to 492. We want to the outside network to telnet to the inside container, which is B1 for this lab. Okay. So B1 it's 192.168.20.5. 68.20.5. It's a seed. So we're gonna use host B to forward any packets to the host B1, which is 192.68.20.99. So what's gonna happen? Like any host, like host A, A1, A2, host A1 or A2, if they want to telnet to host B1, you have to telnet to the port. You have to telnet to host A on port 7000, and then the host A will send the packets to the host B, and any packets that host B receive it from host A from the port 7000, it will forward it to this host B1 in the internet network. And I just forgot to put also ports. Let's put port 23 for host B. So let's try it. Okay, let's give the password. Now the static port forwarding is working. So what I'm gonna do is connect to. Let's start with the host A1. That's outside external, which is 465. So 465, and then I will telnet to host A on port 7000, and then I will reach this IP address. So telnet 10.0.a.0.99 on port 7,000. As we see, we are now trying to connect to host 0DD. 0DD here is it's host B1 on the X internal network. So I just give my credential, and now we telnet to host B1 from host A1, which is an outside external network connected to internal network and bypassing the firewall rules. So that's the first lab. For the dynamic IP address, dynamic port forwarding, sorry. I'm gonna use this command that will assign, it will be like a dynamic forwarding, like for example, like if we have for host B1, who wants to reach any website, then he's gonna use the IP address of host B and the port that it's listening on, and use this information to reach this uh, web address. So let's start. First, I'm gonna connect to host B, EF1. Okay, and then do the command to connect to to host A, and have port forwarding tunnel configured. So I'm gonna connect dynamically to host B using host B IP address. And let's suppose it's listening on port 7 and 1200, and connect to host A, which is 10.8.0.99. With the credentials. Now the dynamic port forwarding is configured and active. It's right. I'm gonna connect to host B1, for example, 0DD. And then I'm gonna use this command to connect to the example.com website. Okay, so the command is current. Because the host B is acting as proxy now, we're gonna use it with the option proxy. So it's and then here we're gonna use the host B IP address, which is listening on port 7200. That's the same port. And then we're gonna connect to example.com. So if everything is set up correctly, the command will work. There you go. There you go. Now we see that we're connected to just the reply from the website example.com. And we see that the command is successfully worked. So just to prove that's a dynamic port forwarding, so I'm gonna connect to host B2 and try to do the same command and see if it will work. So that's host B2, which is FCE. Then I'm gonna do the same command. See. Then host P IP address on port 7200. Connect to example.com. And we see that the dynamic port forwarding is working successfully. Okay. Now the next task is to is use this port forwarding, but using a browser and connecting to the website of exam.com. Okay, but first I need to add another website to the firewall to block and use both websites. So I'm gonna connect to the firewall, which is FAE. It's just okay. So here I'm gonna check the IP tables, which are in the forward chain. Okay, as we see here, like previously, we have only SSH that is accepted, and any other TCP protocol is dropped. And here we have the www.example.com, which is blocked as well. I'm going to use another website I have here. I just choose this website, gwidle.com, with this IP address. Okay, so the command is IP tables append in the forward chain. So any connection that is have a destination of this IP address will be dropped. So I'm just gonna use the full subnet. So any packet that is going to this destination will be dropped. The command of drop is this one to drop. Okay, just gonna check if it's done. Here we see that I have this new website. So just I need to have and here. Okay, but that this option N to show just like the numerical IP address. So that's 50.62.89. That's the same address of this website. So now we're gonna use our browser to use the proxy server. Okay. So I'm gonna connect to host B again, EF1, and do the same command, which is dynamic port forwarding using the port 7200. Okay, now it's working. So let's use our browser to the proxy server. There we go. So first of all, I have to connect my browser to the proxy, manual proxy server. Here I'm gonna use that's the IP address. And here, because I used it before, so I'm gonna change this to 7200. Click OK. So now everything is set. So I'm gonna check exam domain. Yeah, it's connected through the proxy. Second websites. So that's the second website which is connected to the through the proxy. So now I'm gonna see if this browser is using the proxy or not. So I'm gonna disconnect from the dynamic port forwarding and check again if it's working. I'm gonna use the first just so we see that the proxy service is refusing because it's disabled. The second website, which is domain, just refresh and go. We see the proxy is not working. Now I'm gonna enable it again and see if it will work. So refresh the example.com. Give it a second. There you go. It's working. And for the second website, it's working as well. So the proxy server is working through the command, clear command, and using a browser. The next step or next task is to connect to the web web page of exam.com using a SOX client Python program. So let's do that. But first I need to change the setting in the browser. Okay. And then just use no proxy here. Okay. So for this program, I have already uploaded program, which is here. So that's the SOX code I'm going to use in both host V1 and V2 and see if it will work. And here I'm going to use the host V IP address. I'm going to change this to 7200, which is the port that the proxy is listening on. So I need to reconnect to the proxy server. There you go. And then let's try that on host B1 first. So doc research host B1 0DD. Okay. First of all, I have to go to the seed folder. And here I have a SUX client code that already executes. So the code is as follows. So I'm gonna connect to the proxy, which is B. And here, yeah, I forgot to, I need to change it to 7200. Okay. And then we'll connect to the host, which is here, www.exam.com on port 80 using just HTTP. Okay. So I'm gonna save. So yeah. So I will try to execute. I already changed the mode to execute. Let's see if it will work. So if everything is good, the program will work. Let's go. Here we go. So that's the command we used, and that's all the parameter of the website, the HTML files. So here we see that doc type it's HTML. And this is the paragraph. This is the example domain that we see on. If I go here, if I connect to domain.com, so this is the header, which is here, and this is the paragraph. This domain is for use. This domain is for use. So we connected successfully to the exam.com from host B1. So we're gonna try to connect from host B2. So host B2 is FCE. And do the same command. I'm gonna go to the seed folder. I have the same code but another name. So I'm gonna type to it. As you see, it's the same code and using again 9000 that I need to change to the current ports. 7200. And here, let's try to connect to the other website, which is the hideouts.com. Okay, let's save this. X, Y, enter. And I changed already the mode to executable. Let's see if it's will work. There you go. There you go. We see that we connect successfully to the website of hideout.com. So I think it worked successfully again. And that's all for the SACS program. So now I'm gonna move to the next task, which is using a VPN connection, virtual private network. Okay. Okay. First of all, I need to stop the proxy server. Exit everything. Okay. So I need to use this command on host A and try to reach the other network. So the command I already configured. So I have it here just to save some time. So that's the tunnel. So I'm gonna use it on host A. So the route I'm gonna connect to host B. And that's the local command. The IP address of the host A will be like, this is the address on tunnel 0. And then it will be linked. We will set the tune up to up to turn the tunnel 0 IP address up to listen. And in the remote command, it will be in the other side, which is the host B. We will assign this IP address on each tune 0 and for its up as well. So it's going to be like a point-to-point link. Okay, so I'm going to first connect to host A. Which is 4FD. Okay, now I'm going to do this command. Paste. Put the credential on there. Okay, so now the tunnel is working. Let's see if I can connect to another network. Okay, so before I start, I'm gonna start Wireshark to see that we can connect between the internal and external networks using Telnet. Okay, so now I'm gonna connect to, let's see, host B1, 0DD. Okay, if I do a Telnet to first, I'm gonna start use host A. I'm gonna see if it's working. There we go. We see that there is a connection using Telnet. I'm gonna put the credential. And here I'm connected to host A or FD. Or FD, that's host A. So if we see here, so we have a Telnet, it's a sync packet from B1 in internal network to the host A in external network. And here there is some just retransmissions. Here is the sync acknowledge from host A to host B1, and the final acknowledge from host B to host A1. And then we start the telnet data, like sending the credentials, the password. And we can also follow this stream. And we see here that that's the login and that's the password. And because telnet doesn't use like a secure shell, like it's all the packets, the password is sent in plain text. Okay, so I'm gonna use it again, but using host B2. So we just stop this one first. Okay, I'm gonna use host B2, which is v2.6, which is FCE. So log sh FCE. Gonna do the same thing, but now I'm gonna connect to. I'm gonna try host A1. See, so 10.8.0.5. We see that we can connect to the host A1 465.465. And here is the connection. And I just do the same, give the credential. And here we go. Oh, that's the old one. Okay, I didn't start this, so let's gonna connect again to host A1. Let's start this first. Okay, there we go. Credential, and we're inside. So that's the stream from host B2 to host A1. Sync acknowledge, and then the data that starts, that is sent through the VPN tunnel. And same thing because like telnet use plain text, so I find all the credentials and the password here. So the other task is this one. It was bypassing like Egress firewall, like from internal to external. So we're gonna try to use that was Egress. So we're gonna try to use it, but other way, like Egress firewall from outside to inside. Okay. So I'm gonna exit everything again. So now I'm gonna try to connect to host B. Host B, which is EF1, and do the same command just to save some time. From host B to A, that's the command. It's just the opposite, which is I'm gonna connect to host A, and the local IP address of the tunnel in host B, which will be 99, and in the remote host A will be 88, which is the opposite here. I didn't. I don't need to save this. I just did. Okay. So that's the command. Instead of copy, I click paste. So okay. Paste. So that's the command to root host A. Just give credential. And here we go. Now I'm gonna try to do the opposite. So I'm gonna connect to host B2FC again. Let's see if I can telnet. Let's use Wireshark. So telnet host A2 with 6. There we go. And it's the same results using the the VPN tunnel from host B to host A. That's the connection between host B2 and A2. That's the sync knowledge, and that's a knowledge. And then the transfer of data like credentials and everything. So that's all for this lab concerning firewall evasion.